Welcome to episode 99. I'm here with Billy.
Awesome. Well, no, Yvonne, I'm blessed to be here, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity to hop on with you. Episode 99, didn't know that. Closing in 100.
Yeah,
Give me the credit for that, man. That's awesome. Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah, let's go. Can you let the listeners and audience know a little bit about yourself?
For sure. What's going on, guys? My name is Billy G. Billy Janeludis. I am a life coach and professional speaker. Yvonne and I connected through another coach friend of ours, Mike Urso, and I've known Mike for a couple of years in the coaching industry as well as the speaking industry just as much. I got trained by Tony Robbins years ago. I spent 7 years in the therapy field prior to that. Helping people is the name of the game. I love traveling, helping people, working with people around the country. But anytime I get to hop on a podcast and just kind of share some light or help some people, let's go for it. So I'm here.
Amazing, amazing. Moving straight to memory lane. Let's go a bit of back in time traveling. Can you
Mhm.
let us know, like, how was your childhood growing up?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So childhood to me, if I look back, if I look at all the bright spots, childhood was a phenomenal time, playful as it's supposed to be, growing. I think a lot of people looked at me as I got older that I never lost that childlike aspect.
Oh,
And, I could kind of dive into that in some areas where we lose that along the way. I think something about me always kind of kept that playful side to life, that imagination side, that vision side to life. And as you get older, we kind of need that. So, I think there are moments sprinkled throughout everyone's childhood where there are tough moments, there are traumas, there are pains, and how we process that allows us to grow. Or if we don't process that, tend to pop up later in life. So there's definitely that for me. But I'd probably, if I look back, there's a lot of light spots there, I'll say.
amazing. Can you share some of those light moments, the
For
happy
sure.
moments?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's funny. I always, whenever I hop on or do a gig, I always give my backstory, and there's a couple moments that stick out to me, whether they're bright spots or tough moments. To me, they were bright spots. Um, and I'll connect this because I always share this when I'm on stage because I'm writing a book on this concept called the Golden Strand, but it connects to
Oh,
every single person's childhood, so it can be something good for your audience in this topic. Um, so I believe that there's a golden strand connected every single moment of our life, pointing us to where we are now, pointing us into the future, but also connecting everything from our past. And in your question, moments of my childhood, there are three moments that stick out that show me what I'm doing now is exactly what I was supposed to be doing in my
wow.
life. And I believe that, everyone has their own choices, but one of them, I can remember I was very little. I had to, the point where you're just learning to remember things. I was a toddler pretty much. My family took me and my older brother to the beach down the Cape Cod, and again, my brother's 3 years older than me. I was with my grandmother. I was with my mom, and we get there. It's mobbed sea of people, and they lost me. And
Oh,
and so they're running around. Where's Billy? Where's Billy? To them, probably felt like a year. In reality, could have been a few moments. But they're chasing around the beach looking for me, and they just lost their son. They lost this little kid. Um, and eventually, they look about 20 yards to the right, and I ditched my family to go help a little girl whose sandcastle fell apart, and she was bawling her eyes out. So I was trying to help her put it back together.
that's amazing.
Right. So there's one memory right there that sticks out to me where I love helping people. And with what I do now, I get to help people. Like I said prior to the intro, helping people is the name of the game. So that's one that sticks out to me. But then you flash forward maybe about 7, 8 years or so. I was sleeping over my grandparents' house and I was watching. I'm a big wrestling fan. Was watching wrestling with my grandfather, and it was probably Monday Night Raw or something like that. And we're watching who I'm assuming was probably Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock cutting a speech to the crowd, cutting a promo, and
Yeah.
I can look back at those clips today, and they're still electrifying. They're still energizing everything. But as a 7, 8 year old kid sitting on the couch with my grandfather, I can specifically remember him vocalizing and saying out loud, "I hate this. Where's the actual wrestling? The physicality of the wrestling is what he wanted." But I can remember the thought crossing my mind in that moment as a 7, 8 year old kid, where I said to myself, "Man, actually really like when he has a microphone in his hand because one person captivates his entire audience." So you take that little second memory, you put to where I am now. I love speaking to people. It was like kind of on the road ahead. And then I guess pointing forward to where I now as an adult, doing all those areas that pointed me in the right direction of loving helping people, finding a way to use my voice and speak and help people and speak into their lives. So, it's a long-winded answer to some of those moments that stick out, but those two
Yeah.
memories right there always stick out to me from my childhood, which to some people, especially the couch one, could be nothing, but I think there's something hidden in every single memory for that matter.
Amazing, amazing. Can we take a little bit of a different turn here? So, what was like the growing pain and some of the transformational moments which shaped you today?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a handful that happened all at once in my life. So I grew up and I grew up with I think I'll say the American dream was the natural belief system a lot of
Yeah.
us grew into where you graduate high school, you go to college, it's just on the list, and you get the girl, you get the family, you get the job, you get the whole nine yards. So I grew up where I think it was just always unconsciously the belief system where I'm supposed to do this. So, graduate high school, I went to college initially for chemistry. I got the chemistry award in high school. And then when I was there, I never really got the attention of the teachers. So, that pushed me to psychology because I loved the mind so much. So,
Oh.
studied psychology, everything like this. But in college, I'm now trying to navigate this list of getting the girl, getting the job, getting the degree, getting the whole nine yards. And so that was my perspective. And I eventually get a girlfriend at the time and graduate college, get the degree, finally make my way to the psychology field. And I'm like kind of marking everything off the list. But then
Oh,
I,
like
I,
the
I
list. Yeah.
love where there's parts of everyone's story where the road kind of crumbles, we'll say.
Yeah.
And it really is what it could make or break us. And a lot of people get up from that, but a lot of people don't know how to get up from that. And I got to a place in my life, I finally gotten the job, I had the girl, I had, my family was intact, everything like this. And all of a sudden, this was probably back in 2017, I believe it was, 2016. Um, my grandmother, she passed away from Alzheimer's, and she was a glue that really held our family together. But growing up, I was very much, as a kid, my personality type, I was very much an observer. So I would sit there
Mm.
as a little kid, I would just watch people in my family, not like in a like sitting there like commotion would be going around. I think
Yeah, yeah.
my brother, he'd always be getting injured, so I'd be sitting there just waiting for my attention or whatever, like playing with my toys.
Yeah,
But I'd be
I
but
could
I'd
just
be
see that,
watching, right?
waiting. Yeah.
Right? Like I'd be watching other people, just kind of waiting for my moment. So that continued on, and when my grandmother passed away, I'm come from a Greek family. I think at least in my experience in a Greek family, not many people can handle their emotions very well. And so, as the observer, I witnessed all of my family go at each other's throats because they couldn't handle the emotion of the passing, and they started just throwing anger around, throwing past blame around, and I kind of started to see my entire family crumble. So we build our lives on these pillars of you have your family, you have your
Yeah.
relationship, you have your job, you have your security, in whatever sense. The gym is some for some people just as much. And so my family pillar just fell apart, and
Yeah.
I still had the job, I had the girl. I'm a gym goer. I love that just as much. So I had these other pillars. I'm like, all right, like we'll get through this. And you kind of you keep going. You soldier on. And 2 weeks after my grandmother passed away, the girl I've been dating for almost 4 years called me over the phone, dumped me over the phone, and
Oh, that's
crumbled
oh,
every aspect of my heart at that point. And it was the greatest blessing in my entire life. And at the time, I could never say that. At the time, I was shattered. I can specifically remember driving. So I worked in Brockton, Massachusetts, and that was probably about a 40-minute drive every single day. And I would get in the car or get in the truck and turn the engine on. And I can remember all of the pain would come rushing to me. And I'd bawl my eyes out for 40 minutes, get to a client's house. Second that key left the ignition, tears stopped. I was composed. I was ready for the next 2 hours or so. I'm with the session with that client, helping them with whatever they're going through. Phenomenal. They're up here now. Great. Bill's out of here. The second that key went back to the ignition to drive the 40 minutes back home, whatever it was, tears would start falling again. So that's where my pain was really soothed in those tearful moments, which we all need at some point in life. But when the family fell apart, the relationship fell apart, all I had was the job. So, and the gym for that matter, just as much. Gym is something we can control. We can't really control the other things. So I'm working in the therapy field, and I was very new to the company, and they lived by the definition of we're going to throw you to the wolves, and if you come back, phenomenal. If not, see ya. And it's I think there's a lot of cutthroat jobs in the world like that now, but I'm someone that accepts that and goes for it. But their way of doing that was throwing me to the toughest clients they've ever had, meaning working from kids all the way up to adults and families, everything in between. And so they gave me clients where kids were getting ripped from their homes from DCF. And when these kids would look to Billy every single week to be the one they poured their pain onto. And me being new to the therapy field at the time, I would do a great job with the clients, and then I would go home and I did not know how to sleep because I'm sitting there looking at the pain
Oh,
that this
that took
kid's
your
going
whole
through, that this
toll on you.
family's right. It's all on my shoulders, and they're looking at Bill to be the one to handle it. And I can remember I struggled to sleep for probably like a couple weeks, and plus the emotional pain of the relationship and the family aspect, the pillars would have needed to rely on were gone. So as much as those are painful moments, they're beautiful moments to me. They're the greatest blessings I've ever had now, years later, because in that pain, in that struggle, I threw myself into the gym. And when you are not in the right headspace and you aren't really taking care of yourself in any other area, the gym does not matter. It's not a tool anymore. It is kind of defeating you at some time. So I had no energy for the gym, but I was just going because it was the only aspect of my routine I had. So eventually, I I kind of had a reality check gym wise, and I had a very health centered concept come to me in the
Yeah.
sense of all right, because prior to that I wasn't really eating healthy, just kind of eating whatever was there. And then I was like, you know what? I stopped eating so much because I was in such deep depression. I stopped eating. I lost weight and everything. Um, but I was like, wait a second. I didn't eat healthy before. Why not start now in a clean slate? So from there, I really jump started my fitness journey, we'll say. So I found a light in that concept, but all of the pain that I went through, all the emotional pain, the mental pain, the spiritual pain, everything like that, believe me, that was the first moments where faith came into my life. And so
Mm.
from there, a buddy of mine, phenomenal story, barely talked to him whatsoever in high school, didn't really know him, thought he was in a gang. So he comes up to me in the gym. I'm like bawling my eyes out on the squat rack trying to max out or something like that because I was just like letting everything out. And he comes up to me and says, "Hey man, you good?" And at that moment, it's like, ah, man, girlfriend dumped me, family not so good, blah, blah. And he just sat there and listened to me. And he didn't have any answers, but all he said was, hey, if you want, man, I'm going to this place down the street on Saturday. If you want to come, by all means. And I was like, dude, I've done the church thing. It's not my thing. And he's like, all right, on the table, by all means. And it sat in my head for the next 3 days. And it was like something calling, like, just go. Just go and experience this, blah, blah, blah. And so I took a chance, and it was a phenomenal experience. I felt it in my soul. It was the right decision you were supposed to do. And from there, faith became a part of my life. I started studying it, tried growing in that area. Still pray to this day, still grow, and but it's elevated to a sense, and in kind of how I help people, sometimes in a spiritual way. But the greatest part of all that is one night, and I'll say this is I know I'm going off on a rant. I'll say my last little pain point. Um, there was a moment, a Saturday night, and Saturday night after you had just gotten dumped is the last place you want to spend your time in your bed. And I'm sitting there alone, just by myself, thinking about what could be going on in those moments. And it just was not a good place. And I'm just sitting there, and I was like racking my brain, and all of a sudden it drops in my head. And I'm a spiritual person, a faithful person. I believe this is God talking to me. Dropped in my head, search Tony Robbins. And at the time, I was not a fan of Tony Robbins. Something about him, I don't know if it was like a door where I'm like, hey, not yet. And that's why I never really
Yeah.
connected to him. But all of a sudden, I had nothing else to look at, nothing else to do. I was like, all right, fine, whatever. So I searched Tony Robbins on the phone. Usually, and people could do this to this day, you search Tony Robbins. Usually, the first thing that does pop up is usually Google Images or Wikipedia. Not
Yeah.
this lonely night in my room. This one night in my room where I was told to go do this. Uh, essentially all I saw was how to get trained by Tony Robbins and help as many people as he does from the stages, from coaching, blah, 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 whatever the sales pitch was. And I sat there, I go, well, that answers everything I've ever wanted. My dream. I want to help people from the stages. I want to help people in these incredible ways and the whole 9 yards. And so I watched this video, and for about 25 minutes, I felt it in my heart. I felt it in my soul that this was what I was supposed to do and take a chance on that. So it was either go get my master's and put myself further in debt, or invest in myself, take a chance on myself, take a step of faith and go for this. And so I did it. And I got trained by Tony Robbins as a coach, and his entire team helped me grow, taught me all these interventions. And from there, it kind of launched me. And that was years ago. That was 2017. And now to where we're in 2025 right now, it's grown tremendously. It's incredible because all of those painful moments were so connected along the way, like that golden strand concept. They were so connected, so painful, but it was the pain I needed to go through to learn the lessons I needed to learn to make sure I could be who I was meant to be, who is now sitting here talking to you, man. It's incredible how pain is looked at as a very negative thing in the world. In reality, there's a whole lot of positives that come out of the pain we go through in life if we have the right perspective to see it. And that's sometimes the toughest
Yeah.
thing to do.
It's like those moments, like especially death and a breakup,
Mhm.
that's like the huge moments of transformation because it
Right?
has the most pain.
Yeah, exactly. It's because we become so emotionally attached to these people in our lives, which is a beautiful thing. It's a lovely thing for sure. But sometimes those emotional attachments hold us back in life. And when they're severed, if we are so attached to something or someone and it gets taken away, our brain doesn't know what to do with the synapses. The connections are cut, so we feel instant pain. And that's, I experienced that firsthand. But now, growing up, I learned these different areas of how we can prevent those attachments from taking us down. We'll say.
So how are you able to make those emotional pains into power?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll say this in connecting to the attachment aspect. One thing I learned along the way, I remember I took a master class with Michael Beckwith. He is the owner of the Agape Spiritual Life Center in California. I took his master class when I was at another low point in my life, naturally relationship related, and you know, and always wanted the girlfriend in my life, and then kept trying, and then kept hitting roadblocks. We'll say, and I was at another low point, and this video kept popping up for his master class, and like it could be algorithms, could be whatever, but I was like, it was something all about what I was feeling in depression, everything I was going through. So I was, you know what, let me take a chance on this. And so I took his master class, and it taught me meditation. It taught me deep aspects of life stages that we go through and everything. And one thing that he taught me is attachments, detachments, and non-attachments. And I'll explain each one individually, but that is how we can turn those emotional concepts into emotional power, into energy, because emotion stands for energy and motion. And where we direct our energy is by our thoughts. So if we aren't attached to something, we can usually think clearly and elevate our energy and our perspective to a higher level to receive the guidance we need. But if we're so attached, like I was in my own story, where I was preventing myself from growing and learning the lessons because someone or something wasn't in my life. When we're attached to something and we're saying, I can't live without this here. And when we're detached, a lot of people think detachment is where it's okay. I'm just going to keep going with my life, so on and so forth. But I'm going to use the example of my own relationship. The first one that broke me was I was so attached to this person in my life, and when that shattered and severed those
Yeah.
connections, I was in so much pain. So my response was to detach from the person, but in reality, I detached myself from life. So what I would do is I would just go sit in my room and try and wait to heal. And try and wait to heal. I wasn't experiencing life. I detached myself from the pain for sure, but I detached myself from experiencing life as well. So when we take our detachment is taking our ball and going
Yeah.
home. Well, if you take your ball and you go home, you're leaving life in general. And so
Yeah.
there's attachment where I can't live without this ball. Detachment is I'm taking my ball, I'm going home, I'm done with this. And The other answer that we're supposed to live in, and this is throughout numerous cultures and spiritual texts throughout the world, is non attachment. Meaning, if it comes, I let it. And if it goes, I let it. And I began to grow myself. And that's why I love teaching it to people. I began to grow myself in this area where it could be a relationship, could be a job, could be family, could be the promotion someone wanted, could be the gym result, whatever, an award, could be anything. If we're so attached to it and it doesn't come and we're shattered,
Yeah.
if we are non attached, if it comes, I let it. If it goes, I let it. I'm still going to be at this high level. I'm still going to be the best version of myself up here. I don't need this in my life to help me get to that level. I'm always there. And so when we have that perspective shift, we realize that our emotions are in our control. They aren't dictated by one thing in our life, giving us power, taking power away, whatever it is. That's our power. We always have it at the ready so we can shift it to anywhere we want to, based around the way we shift our mind, which I teach in my seminars. I believe our mind is called the universal tool. And just because
Mm,
you think back in the day, you had a universal clicker that could connect to any TV.
yeah.
So a
Yeah.
universal tool can write, it can do anything, it can answer any question, it can help you in any situation you have, it can guide you. The mind is all of this. So if we learn to use it, which I love teaching people in the workshops, if we learn to use it, we then are in control of our life and we can direct it where we want to. Hence the attachment, detachment, non attachment concept for that matter.
Amazing. Amazing. Thanks for your insight.
Yeah.
Some of the things are like a brand new insight for me as well. So, yes, amazing.
Awesome. Yeah. Hey, I'll go
And
deeper
to
if you want to go
Yeah.
deeper.
And to end off our segment, what would you say being limitless means to you?
mm, I love that. Limitless to me is truthfully who we all are. I sit there and look at it where, and I could even use the attachment concept. I could do belief systems, limiting beliefs for that matter. Us as individuals, we are, I love to explain this. We're human beings, we're physical beings, we're spiritual beings, and we're energetic beings. We, at our core, are limitless. But if how we grow, the experiences we go through, the loves, the pains, the great moments, the happy moments, the sad moments, whatever they are, if those dictate our life, we then kind of fragment that limitless concept off. We break it off. We kind of box it off over here. So now our entire life's only going this way. But if we start to expand our worldview or expand our perspective, everything in our life is at our disposal. We're spiritual beings, meaning if people dive deeper into the law of attraction, universal concepts, faith, whatever it is, everything is trying to show us that we are energy and we can create whatever we want our reality to be. So we're meant to be limitless. If we unlimit the mind, we realize how powerful we actually are. So I think at the end of the day, limitless to me is what we all are at our core for sure.
Already born within. Amazing.
Right?
Amazing. And where can our listeners and audience find you?
For sure. Yep. Guys, you can go to I can find me on Instagram. Type in Billy G Life Coaching. My long name is Billy Janaludis. But type in Billy G Life Coaching, I pop up right away. We got content coming every single day, whether it's little tips and tricks to help you with whatever it might be, testimonials from clients, from speaking engagements, whatever they might be. You can find me on YouTube once a week with Billy G. I love that. That's my podcast, my YouTube channel. That's been going for, I believe this Sunday will be 482
Oh,
straight Sundays. That was
wow.
something I did when I was going through all that pain that I mentioned, where I needed to take a step for my speaking goal, my speaking life. And what came to me was start a YouTube channel. So for every single Sunday, once a week with Billy G, I have never taken a Sunday off. I do not plan on taking a Sunday off. What it did was allow me practice for the stages, which now I get to do regularly. But at the same time, it allowed me to speak to other people in whatever way. So if people are looking for YouTube content, we have great interviews with guests just as much. We have solo videos where we dive deeper into the mind to help you directly. Um, Once a week with Billy G, guys, go subscribe. I think we're up to 24,000 subscribers right now. So please become a part of it. Take a look, and then I guarantee there's a message there for you. Website, BillyGLifeCoaching.com. You can set up a free call with me. I would love to help you in any free strategy session. I'd love to dive into it. If you're interested in become a client, let's talk about it. Let's dive into a great conversation. Um, Facebook, Billy Jane Lotus. But yeah, that's everything right there.
Okay, amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your insights.
Oh, of course. Hey, anytime you want to have me on, I'll gladly dive into deeper topics with you for sure.